The disappearance of Maya Millete is both sad and chilling and may be tough for the prosecution to prove. It centers on the January 2021 disappearance of a 39-year-old mother of three who vanished from her Chula Vista, California home. Maya was last seen on January 7, 2021. The state argues she was killed the following day, right after she contacted a divorce lawyer. Her body was never found, and her husband, Larry, wasn't charged with the murder until October of 2021. That's almost 10 months later. Welcome to the Margaret McLean Show. I'm a former prosecutor and your courtroom translator. This is where we translate what's actually happening inside the courtroom. So please press the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Maya is from the Philippines and moved to Hawaii when she was only 13 years old. She was super smart when she graduated from the University of Hawaii and last worked as a contract specialist for the Naval Information Warfare Center. So Maya met her husband, Larry, in high school after he had just moved to Hawaii with his family. They moved from San Diego following a juvenile gang-related assault arrest in 1997. I'd like to know more about that one. So ultimately, Maya trusted him, she loved him, and they married and moved to San Diego. They had 3 children and lived in the San Miguel Ranch area of Chula Vista. Unfortunately, in late 2020, their relationship deteriorated, and Larry allegedly became increasingly controlling and paranoid while suspecting that Maya was having an affair. I think the prosecution has a tough uphill battle. They're lacking a body, they're lacking a weapon, no crime scene. It is a real circumstantial case here. So, they're trying to connect the dots, and they're pointing to Larry, the husband's extreme obsession with keeping Maya from leaving, including paying thousands of dollars, get this one, to online spellcasters. Yeah, spellcasters. That means somebody casting a spell, like a witch's spell, to bind her to the marriage and to make her incapacitated. So he's really believing in all that stuff, and they do have that stuff online. You might believe in it, or you might think it's a scam. I don't know. I personally don't believe in it, but I had to look up spellcaster on Wikipedia, and it says anyone who practices magic using incantations, rituals, or supernatural energy. So this type of magic actually has been around for centuries. And this is from Google. If you are looking for spiritual guidance, you can hire modern practitioners who will perform custom manifestation rituals. Clients and providers are consulting and booking on platforms like Fiverr. I don't know. They also point to a 12-hour gap where the husband, Larry, turned off his phone and vanished in the family vehicle the morning after his wife went missing. The defense argues there is no physical or forensic evidence proving a crime was committed, let alone that Larry was involved, and maintains that Maya left home on her own accord, and perhaps maybe she's still out there someplace in hiding. So Deputy District Attorney Christy Bowles just wrapped up a highly emotional closing argument for the prosecution. Her message to the jury was simple but devastating. And I'll quote some of it for you, since again, you can't watch it on TV. Quote, Maya was a human being. Maya Millete would not, could not, and did not leave her children. To think that she left her 3 children that she spent her life concerned about is unreasonable, unfathomable, and it's impossible. Maya was a mother who loved her 3 children and was actively planning to leave her husband. You know, she tried to convince the jury, this woman, this mother, this beautiful woman would never just walk away. And she also pointed to the surveillance video taken the morning after Maya disappeared, where Larry was backing his SUV almost entirely inside the garage for several minutes. And there was audio. you could hear a distinct sound of something heavy being dragged. I'm sure the defense will say that could be anything. So is that something that the jury will sink their teeth into? I don't know. Here's more of that closing argument. The prosecutor says Maya is just telling him, "We are done. I want a life without you," and he will have none of it. So that's what the prosecutor is arguing. She also argued that there were hundreds of pieces of individual evidence combined to tell one story, that Larry Millete is guilty. He exhibited every symptom of being an abuser who used coercive control against his wife. And when that failed, he desperately turned to the online spellcasters to save his failing marriage. Now, this is the first time I've heard of that in a trial. The messages turned darker, the messages to the spellcasters, when Maya firmly set her mind that I'm done. I'm done with this marriage. I need a divorce. And that's when Larry asked the spellcasters for Maya to be injured, sickened, and even punished. Okay. Quote again, "We know exactly what he wants. Make her suffer. He is willing for her to be so injured that she will have to depend on him. That's what he wants: pain, suffering, and injury. He is capable of wanting her dead because he cannot fathom a life without her." And that's again a direct quote from the prosecutor. That Larry spent months researching the deadly neurotoxin derived from the poison hemlock plant. I told you there would be poison hemlock. It sounds like witchcraft again, right? It was found in a vial inside the home, hemlock. The prosecutor said that all evidence points to Larry's guilt and not the defense theory that Maya secretly left home and left her children behind and her whole life behind. So the prosecutor is trying to say what the defense will be arguing to you, doesn't make sense at all. And by the way, in California, I noticed a difference. So the prosecution always has the burden of proof. And here in Massachusetts, the prosecution always has the last word and they go last. But in California, it's reversed. So the prosecution went first. And today, the defense will be making their closing arguments in the case. So I will be talking about that tomorrow on Lunchtime Law. And I'll be quoting from that because there's no cameras in the courtroom. I wish there were in this case because I find it fascinating. So in a fiery finish, Bowles showed multiple photos of Maya with her 3 children, telling jurors that the mother was taken away from the people that she loved more than anything else in the world. And that's something that prosecutors want to drive home to jurors, is showing these big photographs or slide presentation of a loving mother with her beautiful children. And of course, those poor children no longer have a mother. That mother was taken away, if you're to believe the prosecution's side of the case. And again, another quote, you now have all the pieces you need. You don't need a body to know what happened. Quote, "May Millete is dead, and the defendant is the one who killed her. He is guilty," she said. The evidence is overwhelming. Hold him accountable and find him guilty of first-degree M. So that closing argument took 3 hours, and it sounds like it was very emotional, and it was probably very impactful to that jury. So we shall see what the defense says, and I'm sure I can predict it. Poking holes in the case, no body, no crime scene. So can they prove the case beyond a reasonable step? So I will be following this case. And don't forget, tonight I'm going to be talking about Lindsay Clancy. It's coming up for trial. That case is very emotional for me because I'm the mother of 3 young children. And it talks about, it will really examine postpartum depression. So tonight I'm going to play some of the clips from the prosecution's strongest arguments and from defense attorney Kevin Reddington. Tune in, put your notifications on. I'll be back on live at 7 o'clock. And again, thank you everyone for joining me on Lunchtime Live. I'll be here every day, well, weekdays, not weekends. And if you can't catch me live, then definitely check it out another time of the day. But once again, thank you very much. And I will see you tonight at 7 and tomorrow again at noon.